When I was meditating on this month's reading for you, I surprisingly did not see anything, but I did hear some things, and I'm going to relay it to you. It sounded to me like a bunch of cabinet doors opening and then closing. Okay, it's kind of creepy. But what I feel is I get this sense of like extermination or exterminators coming through, and so you have to remove things or clear things up, or fortify things so that the exterminators could do their work. That's what it feels like to me. Some of you could be physically like, because you guys are very, very productive. I feel like you're also taking the opportunity to declutter your environment, to get rid of stuff, clutter, get rid of things that weigh you down, as well as just clearing up your space, possibly saging, smudging the house, and just trying to, make your space more comfortable, more minimalist, and just less clutter and less baggage. Okay, so that's the first thing that I was hearing when I shuffled the cards out. And I feel this energy about many of you, like, I'm going to be selfish this month and I'm going to do me. Not so much in the spirit of selfishness, but you're at a point in your life where you feel like it's okay for me to relax. I'm going to give myself permission to relax. I'm going to give myself permission to not have to exert 110 every single day in everything that I do. I'm going to let people do their thing while I do my things. And I'm going to let people fend for themselves while I take care of things that I enjoy or do the things that I enjoy, and not have to, mind whether or not people are capable of doing whatever it is that they're assigned to do. And so I feel this energy about focusing on you, doing you, and not letting other people steal your energy, not letting other people occupy too much of your time. If you are the constant problem solver, and if you feel like people are coming to you first as like the first line of defense, and they don't put in the work to research the solution for themselves, or they don't put in the work necessary in order to just, be self-sufficient, I feel like it starts to dawn on you that when you step up, it allows the other person to step down. So I don't know if I'm getting this deja vu because I've mentioned this in a previous reading, but there is a continuation of this energy here where it's like you're starting to see the patterns, you're starting to see these cycles, and you stepping up allows the other person to step down. They feel vindicated, okay? And they're like, well, the Virgo is going to step up and do the work, so that means I don't need to put in the work. That means I can just, back off and let them take care of it. It alleviates me of the responsibility of having to get the work done. And I feel like in the past, you're not assigned to keep scores, okay? I feel like, Virgos are fair. They want like a certain amount of give and take. I feel like with Virgos, you guys have a overwhelming sense of duty. And in a way, you do things that needs to be done, but also there's this shadow side where you feel like if you want it done right, you got to do it yourself, okay? And you kind of go through life with this mentality where you trust yourself, you trust your capabilities, and you feel like if you want things done a certain way, then you would rather do it once and do it right, rather than delegating, rather than depending on other people to make sure that they're going to do something right. Okay, and what I feel like how that plays out in the ways in which you do things in your work environment, in your relationships, in particular relationships as well, is that you end up putting in that extra 10%, that 110%. And then the other person feels like, well, the Virgo is always going to do that, is always going to give more, is always going to step up, is always going to be, the one that I can count on. And so I don't have to work as hard. And I feel like if everybody approached life and responsibilities the way that you Virgo people do, there would be like no problems in this world. But unfortunately, we do have takers. And unfortunately, we do have opportunists. And as a result of that, when you step up, they back down. And then you feel like over and over again, it's almost like you're creating that cycle, okay? And I feel like it has taken you many, many, many years to come to this realization, because I feel like you do things as a labor of love, okay? Out of love, out of that sense of generosity, but also out of that sense of, if I want to do something, if I want something done a certain way, or if I want it done right, I have to do it myself. And I feel like all of those things, when it's like rolled up together, it's really, really hard for us to see, like, what was the cause of this? How did this all start? Let's go back to the beginning and try to figure out how the situation devolved into this predicament. And it can be really, really hard when we're dealing with people and we're trying to gauge motives and we're trying to look at patterns. It's really, really hard. And so we can't really look at patterns in other people. We have to really look at ourselves as the initiator, or as the manifester. How have this situation, how have I allowed it to continue? We can't really control what other people do. However, we can control what we do, how much we put energy in a specific situation, how we enable a specific situation, or even how we allow it to continue, or even escalate, or even worsen. And this is not to say, it's a blame game. It's not all about that. It's about drawing back your energy. It's about focusing on you. And it's about, relinquishing control and not putting in that 10%, that extra 10% that then allows the other person to step down. Okay? And so come out. You're taking a lot more time to focus on the things that you love. And you're taking on a lot more time to do the things that I feel, the decluttering that needs to happen in your life, in your environment, in your home environment, so that you can clear up space for new things. So that's what I'm feeling here. Give me 1 second. Let me get the last 3 cards out. So it's interesting that I didn't see images, but I heard sounds. And the other sound that I heard was, it's like footsteps, okay? Like tiny, tiny footsteps, possibly of an infant. Tiny footsteps, like a child, possibly like a toddler. They're learning to walk, so their footsteps are a little bit like a pitter patter of like tiny footsteps. And what that is saying as well is, that adage, you can't run until you learn how to walk. Okay. And I feel what that is saying to you, especially for this month, is that you do want people to catch up and match your level, right? Like, I feel like for many of you, you have been very disappointed in people. People not carrying through on their promises. People say one thing when they mean another. People reneging on responsibilities. People who shift their responsibilities and their burdens onto you. Or people who generally just kind of take advantage of others. Kindness, okay? And so you want them to match your energetic level, but they're still a baby. They haven't properly learned how to walk. They haven't properly learned how to be self-sufficient. They're still reliant on other people. They still have those training wheels on. They're still going through life as a very, very young person. And they're still, they still possibly have many, many important lessons that they need to learn. And so they might have karmic lessons that they need to learn. And so they're not at a point where they can run and catch up to your speed. And as a result of that, I feel like you do care about a lot of people in general. And I feel like, your sense of when you dislike someone is never ever personal, okay? That's what I'm sensing. We always have people we don't like, we don't jive with, but I feel like for you guys, it's never like a vindictive, like hatred towards another person. I feel more it playing out in like, I'm disappointed with this person because they're lazy, they're slow, they're irresponsible, or they talk out of the other side of their mouth and say things they don't mean, and just insincere and just fake. Like you have like this sheer disappointment, I feel, when it comes to dealing with people who are not operating at their best. And you understand too that as humans, we should always strive to develop ourselves to the best of our capabilities. We should always try to develop our potential. And self-sufficiency is one of the things that you highly value. Self-sufficiency allows us to really get to know ourselves, to know our strengths and our weaknesses, and to work to improve ourselves to the point where we can take care of ourselves without needing help from other people. You guys offer a lot of assistance to others, and you guys would never in a million years ask anybody for help to do things that you are capable of doing. So self-sufficiency is something that you feel everybody on this earth should really strive to do. Why am I bringing this up? The point here is, I feel like, we're all here on this human plane trying to learn different lessons, okay? We have different soul contracts. We have to learn different lessons. Some of us are here because we have to learn to operate and work with another person. We might have been very independent in our past. And so we have to strive in this lifetime to be more, I guess, like to learn to be in communion with other people. And I feel for many of you, you have already mastered that sense of self-sufficiency, okay? And I also feel like there's a need here to be a little bit more understanding of other people, where their deficits are, and to kind of learn to slow down and not really match their pace, but to really understand where they're coming from and to understand why these problems and these blockages that you don't feel are problems and blockages, why they could be problems and blockages for somebody else that is not as self-sufficient or that is not as independent as you are, okay? So that's what I'm feeling. And let me just talk a little bit about the reading here. I mentioned before about, the cabinet doors, up the dead wood, clearing up the weight, the excess weight, clearing up things and junk and just things that you don't need in your life. This can be physically, like the things that are in your possession, in your environment, in your housing situation that don't really serve their purpose anymore. I see many of you like physically going, from the basement to the first floor, to the second floor, to the attic, clearing out and decluttering, dusting and doing some massive, heavy lifting and cleaning so that you can get rid of a lot of things. For some of you, you could potentially be thinking about, switching your place of residence, switching your place of work, switching from one structure to another, and as a result of it, you feel the need to clean out all the things that are your possessions, just so that you can swiftly move into another situation. And what I'm feeling is, for many of you, you're waiting for that new opportunity to come in. And it is going to be coming in for you, okay? So if you feel very compelled or nudged to currently get out of a housing situation, a work situation, possibly even a relationship situation, I'm feeling that there is something else that is going to be a lot more in alignment with your vibration and your energy that's coming into the picture. And it's something that you have long awaited for, okay? It took a really long time for you to get here. I'm drawn to this caravan that's behind him. They've traveled a long way. He's their leader. He's on top of that hill, looking possibly over the water and scoping out the next territory, waiting for that new opportunities to come in. It's like reaching that promised land. And what it denotes to me is something is in the works that will be coming into the picture. You're getting physical signs and you're getting news and you're getting it, like you're seeing something physically. And I feel for many of you, it is very much about your career, your prosperity, your public image, being able to make a very, very big mark on the world and possibly showing or leading a group of people in order to do something. Your visibility is very, very high. You're going to be on display and you're going to be in the public eye and you're going to be very well received. I feel for many of you, here's the thing as well. I've always mentioned Virgos operate behind the scenes. You feel comfort and stability in being the person behind the scenes, getting things running. It's like the logistics person, the ones that, solve problems, the ones that troubleshoot, the ones that put out fires behind the scene. You're very, very good at that. But something is happening for this month where you're kind of like pulled from behind the scenes and put on center stage. It's like somebody plops you down on this center stage. So that might explain the cabinet door. It's like it opens, it reveals what has been there the whole time, what people are not really seeing. Okay, so I definitely feel like, the sliding door moments, or even you being plopped down, like plucked out from behind the scenes and plopped into into center stage. A lot of attention is like directed towards you in a very, very beautiful way. If you are doing any type of a presentation for this month, make sure you rehearse. Make sure you are also comfortable in the clothes that you wear. Okay, like wardrobe malfunctions, that's the last thing that you need if you have like a big presentation. So rather than opting for example, I have a presentation, I'm going to go to the mall and get a new dress or get a new suit or get a new jacket. Wear something that you've already possessed. Wear something that makes you feel comfortable, because I feel like comfort is key. I feel like you might be thinking, I'm just going to stay in one place all day. You actually have to do a lot of walking. So make sure you wear comfortable shoes. So if you're opting right now for, that really nice outfit that looks good but might not be completely comfortable, you might want to try something that's a little bit more tried and true, okay? So there is so much visibility here, okay? Some of you are working possibly in a healing capacity where you're healing people's physical symptoms, emotional symptoms, or even psychological symptoms. So this indicates to me a lot of breakthroughs. This indicates to me a lot of healing. Working in some type of a major spotlight capacity in order to bring healing into the world, okay? Some of you could be in really strong partnerships here with either a Leo or an Aquarius in order to bring this into the fold, or in order to bring something about. A lot of success either with a Leo, or a lot of healing with an Aquarius here. So I feel like success, possibly fire sign, not just a Leo. Sagittarius, Aries, or Leo. And then a lot of healing with an Aquarius person. Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra person, okay? So that's what I'm getting here. The other thing as well that I want to mention, and these two cards stood out. So this is the first card that flew out, and it deals with the Five of Cups. And what I mentioned before about that sense of disappointment in people, okay? Disappointment in situations, disappointment in people. And what's really interesting is a lot of the times, when things go wrong, I feel like a lot of the other signs, especially more of the fire signs, Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo, they tend to blame other people. They're just like, well, so and so was, you know, too slow on the uptake, or they do things improperly, or they should have done this when they did this when they should have done something else. I feel like with you Virgos, you internalize a lot of this disappointment. And rather than, you know, blaming other people, even though the other people might deserve it, okay, even though they clearly did something wrong, rather than blaming the other people, I feel like many of you in the past, you have kind of internalized and blamed yourself, okay? And there is definitely just this sense of disappointment here that you have drastically had a paradigm shift and moved away from with the Death card. And what this denotes to me is you've done this. Like, I see you dealing with somebody and you're telling them you've done this over and over and over and over again, and you're not really learning. I can't help you anymore. You have to learn this karmic lesson. Otherwise, it's going to repeat in your life. I see you telling somebody that or thinking to yourself that. And so, in the past, if you have always been on the ready to give them a helping hand, to console them, to soothe them, to, you know, rush in and save the day and you know, change the situation or like do something for them. Now I feel like you're taking a different approach. So there's definitely a paradigm shift. I can't give my energy to this anymore because this person is obviously repeating cycles and they're stuck in their cycle. If I help them, I will enable that cycle. So this is something that they have to arrive at the solution on their own, or they have to learn to do things differently to basically resolve the situation on their own. I feel like you might have been dealing with somebody whose friends circle, friends list is dwindling, okay? Who has created, who has kind of like isolated a lot of people from their lives that really love them. And we all know somebody who's like that, who's very difficult to be around. They sabotage their relationships. And at the end of the day, it's always this victim mentality, this woe is me type of a mentality. And as much as you care and love this person, because like I said, you don't have personal vendetta against people. We all have people that we dislike. But I feel like with you guys, Virgos and Capricorns, you guys don't have a mean bone in your body. You don't really wish ill will on other people. And even if you dislike somebody, you don't have any type of a personal vendetta. You don't find joy when they fail, okay? You just want people to be okay. And I feel like it's been really hard in the past to detach yourself and allow this person to kind of pick themselves up off their own bootstraps and stop playing the victim. And now with this paradigm shift, it's allowing you to move forward, and it's allowing you to understand that sometimes we have to exercise loving detachment as much as we want to dive right in and fix the problems for them. We have to also hold ourselves back and let them figure things out on their own. So the pitter patter of footsteps makes sense. If you are in a capacity where you're dealing with children or even someone who behaves like a child, when they're so for example, you know, it's like you can't run until you learn how to walk, right? If they're ahead of themselves, if they're too big for their britches, and they feel like they're going to take on, like, it's like they overestimate their capabilities and they take on a massive endeavor, and then they find themselves way in over their head, and then everything that they touch or everything that they try to do just kind of plops or just kind of unravels. It's because they're underprepared and they overestimated their capabilities. And I also feel like with children, you know, if they can like pick them up and write them, and then, they'll do the same thing again. So it's more like letting, like that loving detachment, detaching and letting the person kind of like dust themselves off so that they try again, so that they learn through the process of trial and error and the process of elimination. What did I do in the past? What didn't work? And how can I change my, future actions based on what I learned in the past? So by always swooping in and solving problems, you're disallowing the other person to learn through mistakes. Does that make sense? So this is not about being, harsh on you, but I feel like it's taken you guys a very long time to get to this point where you're seeing a situation a little bit more through the space of loving detachment, a little bit more through the space of, I want the other person to succeed, okay? And I feel like a lot of the times we kind of like have to, it's almost like if we hold on to something so tightly, we can crush it. So we have to learn to kind of like relinquish control, and we have to learn as well to relinquish outcomes. So I'm seeing like the outspread hand here, okay? Not holding on to something we love so tightly because we're in danger of suffocating it. So we have to kind of learn to release and release control, release the outcome, release the expectations, and just hope that if it's meant to be, it's going to right itself. Okay? For some of you, I feel like there is a person that you're very much in love with, and they're dealing with some type of a situation in their life where it's a mixture of work, family, and disappointments when it comes to work. Okay? And I feel like, in this situation, I'm seeing Virgos who are really making strides in their career, in their professional life, in their community, someone who's very well recognized, well known, and someone who's very successful, who has a lot of options when it comes as well to new career paths, new jobs. It's almost like, your reputation precedes you. People know about you. People want to offer you new work. And then I'm seeing possibly a partner, somebody you're interested in, somebody that you're potentially partner up with, who is going through their funk, who's still going through their karmic destiny when it comes to work and responsibility, and how to show up when you're supposed to show up, It's somebody who's still a babe when it comes to self-sufficiency, responsibility. So like I said, they're not ready to match your level, and there's nothing wrong with that. But in the process of picking them up every single time energetically, you feel a little bit drained, and you feel like, if I'm putting so much energy into this, I'm not able to put energy into myself. And so you have to learn to detach, okay? I'm also feeling your partner possibly wanting to match up to your level, but you're so far ahead of them that it's really difficult for them. It's difficult. And what I feel, give me 1 second. Let me try to get this message out. I'm getting somebody who's like a major, like big fire sign energy, okay? So it could be Leo for sure. Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. And I feel like I mentioned before, there's a lot of healing with the Aquarius energy, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. If there has been fights and disappointments, okay? So like, if somebody in your life that is an Aquarius, a Gemini, or a Libra, if they have not been above board, if they have been a little bit like, forgive me, let me try to get this message out first. I'm feeling here that it is Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, Scorpio, Pisces, the water sign, so Scorpio, Pisces, Cancer, if they have not been above board, if they have been, doing things in a way where they kind of isolate themselves from the people that they love, or it's become really, really difficult to be with them, to be understanding, to be patient, I feel like there's going to be healing, meaning they're going to be able to look at their actions and to be able to see how their actions have negatively affected the people they love, have really driven people away. Okay? So if they have been just like nitpicky and argumentative, or, seeing the worst in a situation, or blaming other people and not really seeing how they're the cause of things, I see there's a major turnaround in like a paradigm shift with them. And then if you have a fire sign, there's a lot of opportunities that will be coming through for this fire sign. So Sagittarius, Aries, Leo. And I feel like I see them running. So, the pitter patter of footsteps. I see them running to you, so excited about some new endeavor that's going to be coming into their lives. And I'm getting it with this card here, the Knight of Wands. And what I'm feeling is their excitement is going to be so contagious. And you're going to be their cheerleader. You're going to be rooting for them. Because I feel like, rather than being in this space, they might have been in this space. Woe is me. Now they're starting to see things in a different light. And they're starting to manifest and grab opportunities and not cry over spilled milk, and transforming their energy so that they are a lot more proactive about changing their lives and manifesting their lives and taking concrete actions to move their lives along in a way that makes them happy. And I feel like, that's what it means to be self-sufficient, okay? That's what it means to really be ahead of the curve. And that's what it means to, like step up. That's what it really means. So I feel the first four cards here deals with a situation where you are kind of like, I'm going to back off. This is not really healthy, or this is not something that I want to expend more of my energy in. And you're going to move forward. There's a lot of love that is coming through, and it also requires understanding. But once again, that concept of loving detachment is really big here for you guys. And what that means to me in general is that the love is not diminished in any way. The love is still there, but sometimes we have to love the correct way, not suffocating something, but rather letting it kind of drift away, letting it find its own course, letting it kind of grow and learn on its own. And then once we're able to do that, I feel it shows a lot of maturity to be able to detach and not try to control situations, the people that we love, the circumstances, and things like that. And not, rush in and try to fix everything. So I feel like you've arrived at a really good space where you are freeing your mind of worries, because now you're a lot more focused on you. You're a lot more focused on the people that matter. Okay? So that's all that I have for you here, Virgos. I hope that the reading is helpful. And I've included a link if you're interested in a private reading. I've included a link to in the description box to this psychic. Her name is Bridget. She's based out of California, and she is phenomenal. If you're interested in booking a reading with her, click on the link and then see, what time she has available. Okay. I highly recommend her. She's phenomenal, and I've used her services within the last 2 years. I've also recommended a lot of my friends and family members to consult with her, and she has done an outstanding, amazing job. All right, Virgos, I'll probably see you in about a week and a half or 2 weeks. Okay, take care.